Hello and welcome, beautiful YouTube friends. My name is Lou. I am a yoga teacher and a strength and conditioning coach. And before we get into today's flow, I would just really love to say thank you so much to every one of you that is flowing with me online, especially with the ads that I have coming up on my YouTube videos at the moment. Unfortunately, I don't fit the criteria within YouTube to be able to stop the ads at this point. But as soon as I do, then I will remove them, of course, and I'll at least make it so that they're not going to interrupt your flow. So I really appreciate you sticking with me. I know how frustrating it can be. I am aware, I see you, I hear you, and I appreciate you still sticking with me and flowing with me and overcoming that obstacle with me. So, today's flow is going to be a slow, stretchy, fascial floss flow. It's a lot of F words. So we're going to be focusing on the fascial network, so the connective tissue that runs through the body and essentially encases all of our joints, ligaments, tendons, and sort of holds the skeleton and the body together. And then we're going to be flossing. So we're going to be looking at the nerves and the neural networks that run through the body and how when we work with the nerves as well as the muscles, this can potentially create more ease as we move. So let's get started. We're going to start today's practice in a child's pose. So you can either take the knees wide or you can have the knees together, whatever feels most comfy. But reaching the arms forwards, forearms, forehead, and the chest melts down towards the mat. And as we spend these first few moments just arriving in the space, just taking any sort of wriggles, movements in this shape that feel good. So perhaps a gentle sway of the hips, maybe rolling the head from side to side, just massaging through the third eye center. We've got a really beautiful acupressure point here as well between the eyes, so it can be quite relaxing and down-regulating for the nervous system. But just letting each of your body parts become heavy as you are supported by the earth. And let's take 3 releasing breaths here, in through the nose, and then either out through the nose or the mouth, breathing in. And breathing out. Good, a big breath in. And breath out. And the fullest breath that you have taken yet today, breathing in. And breathing out. Okay. And so from here, just beginning to apply a little bit more pressure into the hands and the fingertips. We're going to slowly begin to undulate through the spine. So using the guidance of your arms, imagining that your torso is like a wave in the ocean, so lifting up from the sort of mid-spine, traveling up to the shoulders, and then the neck and the head comes last. And I wouldn't focus too much here on sort of what it looks like. I'd really just focus on how it feels. So this is going to look different for everybody, dependent on the amount of mobility that you have through your spine and your fascia, what time of day you're doing this kind of movement. Early in the morning, we tend to be a little bit more stiff, particularly around the shoulders and the spine. So really just undulating here with the breath, breathing in as you lift, and then exhaling as you soften. We'll do that a few more times. The movement can either be really small and subtle, or perhaps it becomes a little bit bigger, a little bit more expressive. And then slowly beginning to make your way up into a tabletop position. And from here, continuing to move through the spine and the hips, either with some cat-cow movements, or you can sort of incorporate some rocking forwards and backwards as you do. So emulating that sort of ripple wave-like movement through the spine. But once again, try not to think too much about what you look like here and really just be guided by how it feels. So starting to move your muscles, your joints in all directions. And when we spend the first few parts of the movement practice moving, it's really just about checking in, asking your body, what does it need today? What feels spacious? What feels a little bit more tight, a little bit more restricted? There's no right or wrong here, so really just moving in any way that feels good. Beautiful. Okay, so from here, we're going to tuck under the toes and then slowly walk the hands back towards the knees. But I will say, if it feels painful or restrictive at all through the toes, then you can either sit on the tops of the feet or you can come into a cross-legged position. Otherwise, sitting your weight back into your heels, giving the bottoms of the feet some love. So the plantar fascia, this webbing that covers the bottom of the foot, tends to get quite neglected in yoga. So we're just going to spend a few breaths here just breathing into the bottom of the feet. And as a little distraction, we're going to floss through the upper body. So with your left hand, bring that on top of your head and then guide your head across to your left shoulder. And then right arm, as though you're holding a stop sign, we're going to extend the wrist up, so fingertips towards the sky. And then we'll flex and extend through that left side wrist. Right side wrist, sorry. And we'll go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Switching from the radial nerve now to the ulnar nerve. So coming back to your stop sign, and then we'll bend the elbow in, tap the edge of your jewel with your fingertips, and then maybe even lift up through this right side elbow. Good. And then press it away, lock the elbow as you push back. We'll do that a couple more times, breathing in as you lift. Exhale, push. Good. One more time, breathing in. Exhale, push. Yeah, you might be feeling the bottoms of the feet now. Feel free to untuck them at any time. Let's guide the head back up to a neutral position. This time, left arm extends, right hand on top of the head, and then gently guide it across. And then from here, we flex and extend for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bend the elbow in, fingertips to the jaw as we lift. Exhale, push it away. 2 more times, breathing in. Exhale, push. 1 more time, lifting. Exhale, we push. Beautiful. Guide the head back up. Place the hands down on the mat. Give the toes a little tap out if you need to. Whew. You can feel a little bit intense, especially if you're not used to doing that kind of movement. Give the ankles some circles. Beautiful. Alrighty, from here, coming into your tabletop position, stacking the hands underneath the shoulders, and then we'll bring the knees a little bit narrower than hips width, so almost bringing the knees together. Left fingertips, reach out to the top left corner of your mat, and then extend your right leg all the way back. So we've got a little bit of instability added to the core here by reaching through with this left hand. So from here, imagining that your back is a tabletop and that you've got your favorite glass of wine balancing, you want to keep your pelvis as still as you can. So avoiding as much movement as possible. We're going to circle through the right side hip. 3 big circles in one direction. And take it nice and slow, no need to rush. And then switch it up, go the opposite way. Nice. And then extend that right leg all the way back. Tap your right toes over to the left side of the mat. Option to hold here if that feels like a juicy stretch through that outer right glute and hip. Or you can shift all the way back into a kind of a variation of a pigeon, but a little bit more of a twisted variation. So quite a strong stretch through that left side glute and also for that right side hip. Maybe you feel sensation somewhere else in the body as well. Beautiful. And then using the strength of your left leg as you press all the way back up. Knees come together once again. Let's switch it over to the other side. Right fingertips reach to the top right corner of the mat. And then the left leg goes back in space. Imagining that your sacrum is a table. And then once again, we bend the knee. 3 circles through that left side hip. Beautiful. And then switch it up, go the other way. Okay, let's extend the left leg all the way back and then tap your left toes over to the right side of the mat. Once again, maybe you hold here for a breath. Maybe you send your hips all the way back. I've got a wall behind me. Maybe you send your hips all the way back. But we modify, we adjust as we need to. So for me, because there's a wall there, I'm just bending this back leg in, still getting exactly the same movement here through the area of the body that I'm targeting, so the hips and the glutes. We work with what we've got. Beautiful. And then pressing into that right leg as you come all the way back up. Reaching forwards to the front of the mat, tuck under the toes, downward facing dog. And let's spend a little bit of time here just pedaling out through the feet. Shifting hips, finding a little bit of movement through the shoulders, the elbows, if that feels good. Coming back to that fluidity that we moved through at the start of the practice, this sort of emanating a wave in the ocean. And seeing if you can match that fluidity of body with a smooth fluidity of breath. And I know that sounds really poetic, but basically just breathing smoothly. Okay, let's anchor into the left foot. We're going to send the right leg up to the sky. Beautiful. And then from here, similarly to what we did in our tabletop, we're going to bend this top knee. But as you round your right side hip, so doing some circles once again, you're going to wave your body forwards into a plank position and then shift it back as you open the hip. And if this feels too strong, then of course you can come back down to a tabletop and do the movement from there. We're just going to do 3 circles. And then send that right leg all the way back. Exhale, big step forwards to the front of the mat. And we're going to drop the back knee down here, coming into a low runner's lunge. Left hand stays where it is. Right arm reaches behind. Good. From here, we reach forwards with that right arm. As you do, shift your hips all the way back, straightening into that front leg. Good. Breathing in as you reach behind. Exhale as you shift it back. Let's go again. Inhale. And exhale. So option to keep moving like this. Option on your next wave, shifting your hips forwards. Maybe you bend your back leg in and tap your left toes. Just an option, shifting it all the way back. Rolling forwards, coming into twisted monkey, tap the toes, and then shift it back. We'll go one more time, breathing in, and breathing out. So good. From here, we're going to tuck under the back toes, pick up your back knee. And as we shift forwards, lower your hips as much as you can with keeping the back knee lifted and gaze all the way up. almost as though you're kind of stretching the front of the neck. And then as you exhale, ground your fingertips into the earth, straighten your front leg, but deliberately round the spine. So hollowing your back body up towards the ceiling. And then the head movement's really important here, thinking about getting as much of a tug through those nerves as you can. So as you come forwards, we gaze up. Exhale, round the spine. Let's go 2 more times with the breath, breathing in. And breathing out. So good, breathing in. And breathing out. Awesome. Let's roll forwards, plant your hands, downward facing dog. From here, we ripple the body forwards to a high plank. Soften the knees to the ground, and then the chest and the chin. Tailbone reaches towards the sky. We're going to undulate all the way down onto the belly here, starting with the tailbone as we ripple all the way down, lifting the chest up to a cobra or baby cobra. Fingertips come to the top edges of the mat, and then press your pubic bone, the tops of your feet, into the earth. Breathing in as you ripple the spine up. Exhale, we soften. Let's go again. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, we soften. Good. Coming into a Sphinx pose, stacking the elbows underneath the shoulders, spreading through the fingers. We're going to press down into the hands as you round your spine, lift your belly up off of the mat, hollowing out the back body once again. And then as you exhale, passively soften all the way back down, lift the chest, and also lift your right leg as high as you can. Good, we press into the earth, round the spine. We lower all the way down, lift the right leg. Let's go one more time, breathing in as you push. Exhale as you soften and lift that right side. Beautiful. Place the hands down beside your lower ribs. Press all the way back to a child's pose. And then over the next 2 or 3 rounds of breath, you can make your way back to downward facing dog. And so today's practice is really just about repeating movements, and you might find that over time they become a little bit more easeful. Maybe they don't, trying not to attach any judgment there. But we know that fascia loves to sort of move back and forth through this flowing type motion, as well as hold in static shape. So today's focus is really on flossing and moving through the body, getting everything flowing. Alrighty, let's anchor it into the right foot. Send the left leg to the sky. And then once again, we bend the top knee. As you draw the circle, you're going to come forwards into a tabletop. And then exhale, shift it back. Sorry, not tabletop, high plank. Coming forwards, breath in. Exhale, shift it back. One more time, coming forwards. And shift it back. Let's extend that left leg all the way back to 3-leg dog. Big step through between the hands. Soften the back knee down. Right hand stays where it is. Left arm reaches behind. Good. Exhale as you reach up and over. We straighten into that front leg. Beautiful. Breathing in as you sweep it back. Exhale, reaching forwards. Let's go 2 more times with the breath, just like this. Keeping the front of the chest nice and spacious as you reach behind. And then once again, option to continue flowing like this, or you can bend your right knee in, tapping your back toes, coming into a twisted monkey variation. Slow, steady breaths. Beautiful. So good, everyone. Alrighty, the next time you come forwards into your low lunge, plant the hands, tuck under the back toes, coming up into your runner's lunge. Sink the hips nice and low, but keep that back knee lifted as you gaze forwards and up. Beautiful. Exhale as you shift it all the way back round the spine. Press the back of the heart towards the ceiling. Good. Coming forwards, breath in, gaze up. Exhale, we shift it back. Let's go a couple more times with the breath, breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Beautiful. Roll forwards, plant the hands, downward facing dog. Let's ripple it through to a high plank. Soften the knees, the chest, and the chin. Tailbone reaches to the sky. We tuck the tailbone as we roll all the way through to cobra or baby cobra. Fingertips to the top edges of the mat. We undulate here with the breath, breathing in as you lift. Exhale, we fold. One more time, inhale to lift. Exhale, we fold. Beautiful. Sphinx pose. Elbows underneath the shoulders as you broaden the chest. From here, we press into the hands, lift the belly, the pubic bone up. Exhale, we soften to the ground, lift the left leg to the sky. Beautiful. We round the spine as we press. Exhale as we lower and lift. One more time with the breath. Lifting as you breathe. And then exhaling as you take that left leg as high as you can. Beautiful. Plant the hands down beside your ribs. Child's pose, balasana. Option here to tuck the toes in your child's pose like I am. Just giving the bottoms of the feet a little bit of extra love today. Let's hold here for 2 more steady breaths. Awesome. Okay. From here, we're going to make our way all the way down onto the belly. We're going to come into broken wing. So right arm extends either out long, or you can bend your elbow into a cactus. Now, dependent on a lot of different things, but the orientation of your bones, your ligaments, you might find that you either find more space with a bent elbow or more space with the arm straight. So just have a play around and see what feels good. And if it feels a little bit too strong being on your belly, you can do exactly the same thing against the wall, just stretching through the front of the chest. So lots of options here. If you're coming onto your belly, right arm extends, and then use your left hand beside your ribs, and then roll over onto your right side, either stacking the legs, or you can place the left foot down behind you. And from here, just tucking the chin slightly, create some space through the back of the neck. Okay, so option to hold here for a couple more breaths if this just feels really nice and juicy for the front of the right shoulder. Option to incorporate the left side hip as well, just by bending the left knee in towards your left armpit. Now maybe you hold here, maybe you catch hold of your left foot, either by holding onto the edge of the foot or interlacing the peace fingers around the big toe. Maybe you extend your left leg out long. You want to make sure that you're stable through the lower body here so that you're not sort of just dumping all of your weight into the right shoulder, especially if this already feels like quite a strong stretch. I recommend taking a bend in this bottom supporting leg so that you've got a little bit more of a stable base. And then from here, you can focus on the stretch through the right shoulder and the left leg. Beautiful. Alrighty, let's mindfully release that left leg down. Come all the way back onto your belly. We're going to bend the left leg in, coming into a little half frog position. So leg can be at 90 degrees, or you can bring the feet a little bit closer to your sit bones. Let's stack the hands so that your forehead is supported. And then from here, we're just going to internally rotate this left leg inside the hip socket. So lifting from the knee to the foot, so the lower portion of the leg, up towards the ceiling. And we'll go for 6 and 5, 4 and 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Slide that left leg back in. Let's move through broken wing on the other side. Left arm extends. I'm going to be facing the opposite way from the camera. Coming onto your left side hip. Once again, option to stack the legs, or you can place the right foot down behind you. And creating lots of space through the back of the neck. And then maybe here, once again, you just hold and breathe. Or you might like to draw the right knee in towards your right armpit. Or you can catch hold of the edge of the foot or the big toe if you're extending that leg out long. But once again, making sure that your bottom leg is nice and stable here. And still focusing on that stretch through the left shoulder and the inner right thigh. Awesome. Alrighty, let's mindfully release that right leg down. Roll all the way onto your belly. Let's extend the right leg out to the side now, coming into your half frog once again. Stacking the hands, resting the forehead, and then lifting that lower portion of the right leg. And we'll go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. And then guide that right leg in. And from here, we're going to come into Shavasana. So if you're somebody that naturally enjoys laying on your belly, this is a really great way to down-regulate the nervous system, especially if you've got something underneath your belly, like a rolled up blanket or a pillow. If you know that you just do not find it comfortable at all, then you can flip onto your back or you can come into a seat. So just coming into any position that feels restful and restorative to you. Let's close down the eyes or soften the gaze. Coming back to the softness, the steadiness of your breath. Your breath being your most powerful resource for your fluid body. Responsible for the flowing of lymph fluid, of blood, of oxygen, of life force. And for these next couple of breaths, let's see if we can make them full, expansive. Breathing all the way down into the lower lobes of the lungs, this sense of expanding through the belly. And this is where I'm going to leave you today, my friends. So I really thank you so much for practicing, for joining me, for these little snippets of time. And thank you for carving this time out for yourself, and for your physical body, for your spirit. Before I go, I'd like to just take a moment to honor and acknowledge the roots of yoga, the lineages, the traditions that have passed down this sacred wisdom. I'd also like to acknowledge this land that I am practicing and teaching from, acknowledging that it is stolen land, and where I reside here in Melbourne, Australia, acknowledging that it is the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin nations. Let's take a full breath in through the nose and a soft sigh through the mouth. And this is where I'm going to leave you, my friends. Thank you so much for practicing, and I will see you again very soon.